So the message is out from some crypto influencers saying, yesterday, I made the decision to sell all of my Bitcoin and altcoins as I feel the data has grown exhausted, which has shifted my perspective from bullish to bearish. And I actually saw this on multiple posts, but the fact that this guy put it together and showed how obvious it is that it's coordinated. They say, I sold my Bitcoin at 112. I sold my Ethereum at 4,500. I've been holding both coins from these prices since November of 2022. Buying Bitcoin at 16,000, Ethereum at 1,000. Now, a lot of the people posting this have different verbiage in this section, but they go on to say, I believe the cycle top has already occurred as of August 2025 at 124,000. And when you push play on this, you can see multiple people saying the same exact similar thing. In fact, most of them even saying the same thing as far as I sold my Bitcoin at those specific numbers and when they purchased at specific numbers. So there is some sort of bot farm going on right now trying to convince people in crypto to sell. And this is really interesting because I also saw this post here from Crypto Burb saying whales are betting on $190,000 in Bitcoin by December. So we have a bunch of random bots accounts out there, or even massive influencers, people that are verified on X saying they sold all theirs. But let's take a look at all of this very positive news that's coming out for crypto. So let's start by saying the last 48 hours were not normal. How about $15 billion worth of auctions expiring, which that did happen and that's done. So now we don't have to worry about the options market playing negatively into the crypto market. Solana ripped 17%. Mantle Treasury hit $4 billion. Ethereum developers shipped a new upgrade, and whales are betting that the crypto market is going to hit 160 to 190,000 for Bitcoin by the end of this year. But it doesn't just end there. Something big is brewing. Bitcoin options flows explode. So institutions and high net worth traders piled into year-end calls with a strike of 160 and 190. So for those who don't know how options work, totally fine. But there's big people with big money that bought a option play or a bet that crypto will be $160 or $190,000 by the end of the year. And if it's not, then their bet loses and they lose their money. However, if it does reach these levels, then they win, and they win big. Now, along the way, they can close those trades if it doesn't look like it's going to make it there, but none of that matters. What matters is that institutions and high net worth individuals think that they're betting on these high prices by the end of this year. This surge in block trade shows big money betting on Q4 rally. Now, September is historically a bad month, but if we think about it, Q4 doesn't start until October anyway. So we have August and September that could be bad. These people are still loading up on these longer term trades. October, November, December is going to be Q4. And with options expiry shock, over 15 billion in Ethereum and Bitcoin contracts did expire on Friday. Open interest was stacked as high strikes, confirming bullish position despite recent pullbacks. But there is an issue with futures right now. And I'm not sure if you saw this, but on August 28th, Binance did say, we are aware of an issue affecting futures under management trading on Binance. Now, could you imagine being trapped in a potential trade where you're in a futures trade and then you could not exit or sell your position? All futures trading will be temporarily unavailable. Our team is working on it to resolve it. Futures was halted. Instead of panic, traders doubled down though. Sentiment seems resilient. Even such issues can't derail momentum. Still, technical indicators say lower prices are possible, which we'll show you when we get to the charts at the end. We are at a nice support level, but there is potential the next level down that we could still attack for liquidity. On top of that, Mantle, which if you're not aware is a pioneering on-chain ecosystem dedicated to revolutionizing the future of finance and blockchain scalability, seamlessly bridge TradFi and DeFi. Well, they just had their largest treasury accumulation total acquired of $4 billion at this point. It joined a U.S. Commerce Department pilot with Chainlink to tokenize government data. So yes, they're loading up extreme amounts of crypto. They also partner with the United States government along with Chainlink, and that's adoption at the highest possible level. Now, on top of that, which we covered during this last couple of days of last week, Solana was ripping to the upside, made it all the way up to $217, which was up 17% for the week. Even though Solana is now experiencing a pullback with the rest of the market, it was outpacing it for a little while. It's still one of the strongest altcoin charts in the top 10 by market cap right now. And he goes on to say, better keep an eye on Ethereum because take a look at this. Ethereum core devs released new updates. The Ethereum Foundation put cross-chain interoperability as its top priority, targeting institutional adoption. The price reaction, well, unfortunately, it was negative, right? So Ethereum pulled back 12% from the new all-time high that it did make, $4,955, with $5,000 remaining. Is that still that crazy psychological magical resistance? ETH just cannot break that 5K level just yet. And on top of that, huge news for another segment of crypto: the NFTs aren't dead. Pudgy Penguins launched a game, Pudgy Party, mobile game on iOS, already over 50,000 downloads. It's the top 10 in the Apple charts right now, which obviously is bullish for Web3 engagement despite token volatility. That's not bad at all. And we do know Pudgy Penguins is an NFT project. Now they have an actual game. And then, of course, we know that they have physical products and they have their token called Pengu. And more positive, fundamental news. Now, I know you're probably getting pissed off at this point because you're like, stop telling me all this positive news. Crypto is crashing right now. Yes, we are having a slight pullback, especially leading into a historically bad month of September. But this is laying the foundation and the groundwork for what's going to be happening in Q4 and potentially in 2026. Now, other people are saying 2026 will be the real end of the bull run, but we'll see. Coinbase's Base Layer 2 is now an NFT hub as well. So NFT trading on Base surged 70% in a month to $47 million. Now, a lot of you guys out there may have been in crypto long enough to remember the NFT craze. And at this point, you don't hear a darn thing about it. Like literally no one ever talks about NFTs at all. But did you know that $47 million worth of trading is happening in the month, even though no one's even talking about NFTs? So this makes Base one of the fastest growing NFT infrastructure plays as of August 29th, 2025. Now, we did have Bitcoin dipping near 108,000 with the most bearish month, which is an average loss of 6.2%. It's possible we'll see sub 100K prices because of September coming. But realistically, I mean, it's incredible where we're at. Bitcoin ETF assets under management has doubled in 12 months to $150 billion. Now, as you saw in the graphic I showed you in the beginning with the Bitcoin ETFs and the Ethereum ETFs, they did have still positive numbers, but selling off has been happening. So it's been a mixed bag. But gold ETFs have hit a record as well, 180 billion, but grew only 40% in the last 12 months, compared to $150 billion for the Bitcoin ETF. At this trajectory, Bitcoin ETFs could overtake golds as early as next year, a first in the financial history. So as we can see on the chart, this right here is gold ETFs, and right here is Bitcoin's ETFs. And that does include the IBIT, FBTC, GBTC, and on and on. The grayed out area here is actually when the post-SEC approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs happened. So this is really where we started to seeing the actual opportunity take off. And you can see it's been a phenomenal trajectory to the upside. Then at the end of this thread right here, he goes on to basically poke a joke at what's going on right now. If you're not familiar with this, if you're not on X, you're not following the news, there's been a widespread panic that Donald Trump is dead. Is Trump really dead? Jokes aside, social media is now concerned. Trump is dead is trending after viral Simpsons clip claimed to predict the death in 2025. And the White House hasn't addressed it yet, which could be a result in a big market shock. And the reality is this is just hilarious, right? They got Joe Biden here with Trump's hair and they colored him orange. But the reason that this is going around is people are saying that they have not heard from Trump publicly since Tuesday. And as you know, Trump loves to be in the spotlight. So where is Trump? What is going on? Is Trump dead? Is trending on X. And if you are on X, don't forget to subscribe to Crypto Burb. I'm going to repost this post because it's so powerful. So in short, he says institutions are loading Bitcoin calls, 15 billion expiry, Ethereum development momentum, Solana is strong, Mantle's $4 billion treasury, NFT traction on Base and Pudgy all move the adoption needle big time. But turbulence ahead, so be ready for the worst. Alex Spiro, Musk's lawyer, is set to chair a planned $200 million Dogecoin treasury company backed by House of Doge as meme coin treasury vehicles begin to emerge. So we talked about treasury companies and we talked about them a lot because you have Bitcoin treasury was the first one, which was MicroStrategy by Michael Saylor. Then you have massive ones coming out for ETF or ETH, Ethereum. Then you also have them coming out for XRP. There's some about to take off for Solana, but this is the first of its kind for a meme coin going after Doge. The initiative is being pitched to investors as Dogecoin as a treasury vehicle with endorsement of House of Doge, the corporate entity which was launched in 2025 by the Dogecoin Foundation and headquartered in Miami. Spiro is a Quinn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan partner who has represented high-profile clients including Elon Musk, Jay-Z, Alec Baldwin, and has been named in investor materials and conversations as a planned chairman for the entity. Musk's electric car company Tesla has also disclosed Dogecoin holdings, though it has never specified its position size. The firm began accepting Doge for select merchandise purchases back in 2022. This is an interesting play here for using a meme coin such as Dogecoin, which has been around forever, so it has a lot better reputation. But as a treasury company, that doesn't really make sense in my personal opinion. I would not risk my company's holdings, its liquidity to help grow the company based on Dogecoin's price action. That's a little scary to me.